Forget about Dance of Knives, Heartseeker Rogue is back in action. And with a new technique, we managed to have infinite barrier, permanent unstoppable, pretty much just sitting inside everyone, pulling them together with your runes and just blasting them away with the victimized Heartseeker explosions. Now the build can already do Torment 4, but it feels way more comfortable in Torment 3, absolutely obliterating everything left, right, and center. In order to feel better in Torment 4, I would need Tyrell's Might, which I don't have yet, but I'll just keep exploding bosses like crazy until it drops. Now, how does this tech work? Step number 1, we're using the Shard of Varathiel. That will make our Heartseeker cost resource, but that's technically bad because now we kind of have to counterplay the resource it costs, and it actually costs 25. But hold on, we're gonna make it cost even more resource by using the Crown of Lucian. And by the way, there's Torment 4 gameplay running in the background to give you a feeling for it. The Crown of Lucian will increase the cost up to 50 essence per Heartseeker, but at the same time, it gives us a total of 75% more damage. Damage, cool, but why would we increase the cost? Preparation says spend 75 energy to reduce the cooldown of your ultimate skill by 5 seconds, and then whenever we use an ultimate skill, we get 15% damage reduction. Now our Heartseeker will cost 50, so 2 casts is already 75 energy, 3 casts is 2 times 75 energy. And by doing this, we'll reset the cooldown of our Shadow Clone, so it's up every 5 to 7 seconds. And Shadow Clone doesn't have a casting time like all the other ultis, so you just click it and it works. The cool thing is, Shadow Clone makes you unstoppable for 5 seconds. And if you can cast this every 5 seconds, you can literally just stand in the middle of everything, not moving, permanently unstoppable, just blasting out everything we do. Now that's not the end of it, because everything costs more. We can use the Puck rune. The Puck rune says, I'll use resource 5% for 5 offering. Now I'm using 50 resource though per cast, and my attack speed is 100%. And then when I get 300 offering or spend 300% of my maximum resource, which would be 6 times essentially casting Heartseeker, well, we're doing the Vortex from the Spiritborn. We pull everything together, and that is almost screen wide. It's crazy. In Infernal Hordes, and then everything just explodes to the Heartseeker fancy pantsy. Now, how do we make sure though that we don't run out of resource? Step 1 is Innervation. That is a chance to gain 8 energy back on cast. But the problem is it costs 50. So that still is missing 42 resource to replenish. They boosted an affix up to a 15% chance to restore 127.1 primary resource. That's an interesting lucky hit, especially with the fire rate of Heartseeker and everything we do. And our maximum resource is actually increased through the Shard of Varathiel. Yep, we already have 20 more, so we're sitting at 144 roughly with everything we're doing. That means we can cast 2 times already, or 3 times with the Innervation to actually be able to get 100% back, easy peasy, with this little affix. On top, we're playing the Combat Paragon glyph. Skills that critical strike restore 12% of their energy cost. The more expensive it is, the more we restore. Very interesting. And as a final item, you could add the Beastfall boots, which says using a cooldown restores 25 energy, and casting your Heartseeker with the cold clip aspect counts as using a cooldown because you're shooting cold imbued arrows. It's kind of a bit weird, but this consistently restores 25 as well. Makes it even more viable. I don't need them because I pretty much have everything figured out and it works perfectly. The only thing I need to do is I currently need to drink the Elixir of Resourcefulness to get the 25 cost down to a 20 cost. Could alternative also just go for a resource cost reduction on one of the rings or on both rings to kind of make up for the Elixir of Resourcefulness, but it's easier to just drink that. And now a final thing the bonus resource does, and that would be more barrier than ever with the Second Wind. Every 100 energy you spend grants 45% of your maximum life as barrier. Well, 100 energy is just 2 casts of Heartseeker. Otherwise, it would be 4 casts of Heartseeker, or if you reduce the resource even more, 5 cast, 6 cast, 7 cast. For me, it's just 2. 2 times my button, straight up barrier. And if that gets depleted, 2 times cast, straight up barrier again, allowing me to really stand AFK in Torment for just blasting away Heartseeker, pulling everything together. Brilliant. And this straight away worked in Torment 1. I was playing Dance of Knives, went into Torment 1, got the shot of Arathiel from an Infernal Horde, boom, could straight away whoop this out. Did not get the Crown of Lucian straight away, got that a little bit later. And now, to boost myself even further, I would need Tyrell's Might. That helps me to take care of resistances extremely easy, but it also shoots with every Heartseeker out the bonus Tyrell's Might, which is actually kind of cool. And on top, you could get the Ring of Starless Skies. That one has a problem though, because it reduces your resource cost by 50, then your resource cost goes up by 150, and everything gets a little bit slower than you have been doing before. So if you play the Ring of Starless Skies, don't get any other bonus resource cost reduction, as you want it to be as expensive as possible. For the skill tree, get as many points in Heartseeker as possible, and then Heartseeker actually ricochets off. We have 3 points into Sturdy for the damage reduction, and then also the Siphoning Strikes if we actually lose HP, to straight up get it back up like there's no tomorrow. We're running the Caltrops into Cold Caltrops for the super chill, and then Weapon Mastery together with Trick Attacks, 3 points in Unstable Elixir, and also the Balestra when you evade that you get even more damage. Into our Smoke Grenades, increasing our damage, getting the cooldown, the Malice and the Exploit for the bonus damage against healthy and injured enemies, and also the damage versus vulnerable enemies, with the Dark Shroud and then the countering Dark Shroud for the bonus crit chance. Could technically have Dark Shroud also give you maximum life, but honestly I never lose life, and else I have Siphoning Strikes to get that back. We're running the Shadow Imbuement, and why that? Because Shadow Imbuement has mixed Shadow Imbuement, and that says enemies infected by Shadow Imbuement take 12% increased non-physical damage. Well, my Heartseeker is permanently cold imbued due to the aspect, ergo we're doing more damage, and we just have to shadow imbue and then dash through someone. Very simple. And since we have the additional dash charges and we're reducing our cooldowns the whole time, yeah, we have that always up. Then we still go into the cold imbuement with the mixed cold imbuement for the bonus damage against crowd controlled enemies. Double this bonus against frozen, and we always freeze. Then with the Frigid Finesse, again with the same chilled enemies and frozen enemies for more bonus. With our Shadow Clone into doing more damage and the Permanent Unstoppable, with 3 points into Second Wind for the barrier, and technically the 3 points into Innervation can even be taken out, as 3 points are enough with all the lucky hit chance we have, but again, more is more. And then Alchemist Fortune for even more lucky hit chance, as we do play Victimize, and the more lucky hit chance we have, the better it is for Victimize. The core piece, Shard of Arathiel, you want to have that as the 200% version, so this greater affix one ain't even good. The 4 to basic skills is nice, but I really want the 200%, not 178%. Then on your main weapon, I got vulnerable damage, maximum life, dex would be good, but you want that 15% chance to restore resources because it works fantastic. Vulnerable damage and chance for Heartseeker projectiles to cast twice, 100%, easy peasy. Then you're playing the aspect of Moonrise, which gives you 160% bonus damage multiplier on your basic skills and bonus attack speed. The amulet is running Dex in my case and maximum life plus a lucky hit to make vulnerable. If you get Frigid Finesse or Malice as your ranks, that would be amazing. But what you 100% want is a lucky hit chance to make vulnerable on either the rings or the amulet. Total armor percentage, vulnerable damage, and then adaptability for that 120% bonus damage when you cast at or above 50% resource, and we're always above 50% resource. You need the Cold Club aspect to make your Heartseeker be cold imbued and do more damage. Then attack speed, very mandatory. Maximum life, I do have lucky hit chance here, but that could be vulnerable, and then Innervation Temper. Second ring, same attack speed, vulnerable, dexterity, and then Innervation Temper. That Innervation Temper could also be resource cost reduction instead, if you then want to go for a resource cost reduction route. And we do bonus damage against knocked down or stunned enemies. Now, very important it is to get the Fist of Fate. I got a greater affix lucky hit one. I tried this out with a 50% lucky hit Fist of Fate as well. Works good. This is only 265% multiplier. I have a 300% multiplier one, which allows me to do even more damage. Fist of Fate are from the Beast of Ice. You want to kill the Beast of Ice anyways, because it could give you the Beast Fall boots that allow you to do this very easy in the beginning. So Fist of Fate is kind of mandatory for this, as more lucky hit just means everything in this build works better. On our pens, we're playing Tested of the Dawning Sky until we have Tyrell's Might, because Tested of the Dawning Sky is 42% resistance to all elements and maximum resistance to all elements bonus. Just like that, we're done. We don't have to actually worry about resistance at all. I'm wearing this from tier 1 to tier 4 all the way, and it just takes care of everything. We're fine. Boots are going for max life, movement speed, fire resistance. That fire resistance could be armored, not needed there to be fire resistance. Crowd control duration, important that all your crowd controls are just longer. Movement speed, and then bonus chance to daze enemies with bonus damage multiplier to dazed enemies. And your plan is to crowd control the enemy super hard, especially the boss, and you can even get the 4th and the 5th crowd control done, which are usually almost impossible. And lastly, the masterpiece, the Crown of Lucian, for that bonus damage, but the more resource, cooldown reduction, shadow resistance, lucky hit, maximum life, kind of does everything nicely together. And in order to get Dark Shroud, because we're not playing it, we're playing the Knock-Mot rune. The Knock-Mot says inflict a crowd control that isn't slow or chill, and then we get a Dark Shroud. And we're always inflicting a crowd control because of the Fist of Fate. Up to a 40% chance to apply a random crowd control effect. We're freezing, we're stunning, we're immobilizing. So we're doing all of this on top. And that means that we consistently trigger this to actually get bonus Dark Shroud shadows at any given point. Usually you would cast a non-channeled skill, but that doesn't work because the cold imbuement here kind of breaks that for some reason. Now to the Paragon board, our first glyph is combat for that energy restoration, and it works plenty fine. Might be able to get this one out if I do play the Beastfall boots with Tyrell's Might to then, for example, play Headhunter for a huge amount of dexterity plus and damage to elites. This gets us into the exploit glyph. Bonus vulnerable damage galore. We need as much vulnerable as possible. And then increase damage to vulnerable as you make it legendary as well. And that is in the exploit weakness board for, well, if you're hitting vulnerable enemies to get even more damage on top. That brings us then to the right side into the Eldritch Bounty for our imbuement skills, and the Kenny Glyph for non-physical damage multipliers with increased non-physical damage again, and that works with a cold imbuement perfectly. Then we're going for Devious. Devious, very important because it boosts the ultimate damage here, and we want more ultimate damage to get this multiplier up. No witnesses. Your ultimate gains an additional 10% damage from your damage with ultimate bonus, and grant this bonus to all skills for 10 seconds. Since we have our ulti every 5 seconds, we have this permanently up at 39%. And, well, our Shadow Clone just feels very happy as well. Then lastly, we're going to the Sheep Shot board, and there we put in the Fluidity Glyph. When you cast an agility skill, you deal increased damage and gain 15% increased energy regeneration. That every energy we actually gain back is worth even more to make this work even more fluid. You see what I did there. Now I have to say I truly enjoyed Dance of Knives, but only for leveling. Afterwards it gets so tedious to play. If you compare this to Heartseeker, where just hold down my button and have fun, it couldn't be better. Heartseeker is truly just what I enjoy the most about Rogue. How do you feel? If you actually want to see how Dance of Knives leveling work with a build, there's the stream for you. Or if you're rather interested in the Rogue 2.0, how about a Gorilla Spirit board that is not that weird ass quill volley stuff? Enjoy. Have a good day.